The footage that you are about to see is going to be heavily chopped up, and it is meant so that you can see different areas of parts that you may be stuck on. So if you do not wish to see any of this, just wait till tomorrow for your next video. Thank you for watching, and this will be the Demon's Ruins guide for a strength build. For a strength build, these first guys are exceptionally easy, so once again I recommend that you just run past them. They're not worth your time. Coming down here, some information you should know about the Taurus demons. These Taurus demons here do not respawn. However, they are the exact same Taurus demons as the one you fought as a boss. Exact same moveset, exact same amount of health, and exact same damage. You may think I'm wrong, but it is the same. However, you have better equipment and better armor and better weapons and better stats. These guys are important to kill because they guard an important item that we shall be getting later on in the Let's Play. Now when it comes to fighting these Taurus demons, if you are this far in, you can see that you're going to be gathering 3 at once. However, this is not much of a worry because our hit with a very powerful strength weapon should be able to stagger them. And we should be able to kill these guys in 2 hits. And again, as you can see, we stagger them, and our poise is enough to take a lot of their hits. And if you start running low on health, just back up and block, and move back and heal. Now obviously you're not going to have this many Estus Flasks when you come down here, your Estus Flasks are not going to be this upgraded. This is a character on New Game, and is the only representation of a good strength build that I can do. My apologies. However, you see, they still drop the same amount, they do not drop the same amount of souls, however, they're still the exact same. Coming over here, you can see this Capper Demon. This Capper Demon will respawn every time, so that is something to be wary of. And the Capper Demons in this area are the exact same as the ones you fought in the boss area. Same moveset, same everything. They should, however, be much easier this time, especially this one up here, because he is low. But as you can see, that attack cannot be blocked with little effort, and our attacks do enough damage to even stagger him in 1 hit, and he has a very small amount of health. They will occasionally drop the Demon's Great Machete, which is a very powerful strength weapon that I recommend for a powerful strength weapon that is also fun to use. Now coming down here, if you are in human form, you'll be invaded by Dark Wraith Kirk. I unfortunately do not have the footage or the ability to show this again. However, if you look in my main Let's Play of this, you will see me fight Dark Wraith Kirk using a strength build. Some tips that I can offer for a strength build. Dark Wraith Kirk will invade when you're about right here, so as you can see, we're going to start aggroing those Capper Demons. So what you want to do is you want to run all the way back. Come back up here, and by the time that Dark Wraith Kirk finishes, you should meet him about right here. Best ways to fight Dark Wraith Kirk are to push him back up to the hill a little bit, up till you're about right here, because then you'll have enough footing to fight. I do not recommend using very heavy two-handed attacks like this, because he'll either just parry you or just get several hits in and you'll bleed out. What I instead recommend doing is blocking, then taking hits after hits, because you will break his poise very easily. He has very little poise. Or what you can do is during his attacks, just hit him. You can even do it with a two-handed attack, but I do not recommend a strong two-handed attack over the head. Or a one-handed attack over the head. As you can see, these 2 Capper Demons come up, however, approaching them will only aggro 1 Capper Demon. These guys respawn, as does the first Capper Demon that we met. Taking damage from these guys is very minimal. As you can see, our poise just completely negates all attacks that they do. And you can see, we can block through their attacks very easily. But if blocking their attacks follows the same rhetoric, block, let go, let your stamina recharge, block, let go, let your stamina recharge. Very simple. Now for the next group of Capper Demons, you can usually bring 2 at once. Usually the third one over the right is nothing to worry about, however, if you come up slowly enough, or if you're silent enough, this guy will be the one who attacks you. As you can see, with a strength weapon, we break their poise exceptionally easily. A few tips for running out of stamina in this area. If you run out of stamina because your attacks take too much stamina and you cannot regenerate fast enough, back up and wait for a chance to block. Do not hold your shield up because you will just hold your stamina up from regenerating. Coming to this guy, same exact tactic. Now, Coming over here, do not run straight forward. That is a dead drop off the cliff. And you can see over there we got the Demon's Great Axe Machete. Or Demon's Great Machete. Instead of jumping off that cliff over there, what you want to do is come around to the left. And you'll be meeting a new enemy. These kinds of enemies shoot fire and they respawn every time you rest at a bonfire. As you can see, they're decent at draining stamina, since they do have a constant attack, but it's better when there are several of them, because that way they will drain your stamina much more quickly. However, alone they are very weak, they have 0 poise, so even a very light attack will damage them. Coming over here, what will end up happening is that a worm will jump down from here and cover up the bonfire. The bonfire, if you've rested at it before, will still be there. Don't worry about it if you're a new game or New Game Plus, the amount of kindling that bonfire has will be the exact same. That kind of what I recommend doing for this worm is sticking to the right wall and with a very powerful two-handed attack, hitting him, and then immediately, while you're still locked on, back up and block. Because usually what he will end up doing is thrashing around, and this will cause damage. One thing you can also do is that those centipede worms are very weak to magic, so that is definitely something you can do if you are a strength class with a little bit of intelligence, or just a straight up intelligence class. Come down here, you can see more of these jerks. Quite simple to beat. As you can see, our weapon has a very long range, and they generally tend to clump up. And by they, I mean the enemies, not our weapons. Coming over here, you see a Taurus Demon. This guy can be tricky only in the sense that the elevation sometimes can be a little bit tricky with the hitboxes. However, one strong two-handed attack from the Suihanda staggers him. And even blocking with our strength weapon negates a decent amount of the damage. And I can see that they will occasionally drop a Demon's Great Axe. Coming over here, you can see a Centipede. I recommend completely ignoring him, for he guards nothing and he's completely useless. However, again, if you want to kill him, magic is very useful. Now you can see this guy. I do not recommend going up to fight him. I recommend instead stepping back and getting a little bit more footing, because several of their attacks will actually knock you off the cliff. One thing that I recommend doing when fighting the Taurus Demons is staying very close up and personal to them. Their attacks will generally go over your head, and you can just continue hitting them until they die like that. The second Taurus Demon is a little bit more tricky than the first Taurus Demon. However, he is still quite manageable. Coming up, do not run up to fight him. Just aggro him and then start walking back, because if you step up, you'll end up on that very narrow precipice, and you will probably fall off to your death. Right when he starts running over, this is a decent place to be. What I recommend you do is you face away from the cliff, because this way his attacks will not knock you off the cliff, because you have the maximum amount of space available. That was completely unintentional, but it does illustrate better than I could with words how easy it is to fall into the trap of being greedy. When fighting these guys, you definitely want to take your time, block through attacks that you feel like you can't avoid by backing up, and you definitely want to make sure that you don't get knocked off the cliff. You want to be very patient in this game, and when it comes to breaking poison that's very essential. As you can see there, we almost got knocked off the cliff. You want to be very careful of sticking close to the right wall and facing either directly at it, so that way you're being flung in an optimal direction, or facing the opposite direction. Now coming up this way, this is a trap. As soon as we walk across, there are going to be several different centipedes that come. With heavy armor, their attacks will either barely stun us, or just do a little bit of poise damage, but not knock us down. What I definitely recommend doing is running past them. Do not fight them unless you have an extreme amount of magic, but even then it's a waste of resources. Over here you will have the large Chaos Ember, or the large Flame Ember, which allows you to upgrade flame weapons to plus 10. Running back is much more difficult than running forward, and as you can see, they shoot some sort of acid. So what I actually recommend that you do for this is then equip all of your armor and all of your weapons, because what that acid will do is corrode away all of your armor and all of your weapons. It will not break immediately, but however, it will lower the durability. Now, if you want to run back, that is something that I recommend doing, and I will show it off. No, you know what? I apologize. I will not show it off because I do not want to take the risk. Instead, simple Homeward Bone will take care of the job. We're equipping all of our stuff. I'll meet you guys back in a moment. Once again, run by the Centipede. He cannot affect you if you just keep running, even if you have heavy armor on and you have the slowest run speed. Coming to these guys at the top here, they're the exact same enemies as before. However, as you can see, there are two of them, and sometimes you'll get flanked. If you do not have the movement speed to get past them, simply block through their attacks. With a decent shield, their fire attacks should do nothing to you. Dropping down over here, we have a Capra Demon that guards a soul of a large soul of a Proud Knight. This Capra Demon is exceptionally easy, and you can even knock him off the cliff. As you can see, however, his attacks barely even affect the yours. And his jumping attacks there are great to take advantage of, because then you'll get a critical hit on him because you damaged him while he was moving. Coming down over here, this is where I'm going to leave you with this build, and I will be meeting you back up at the boss fight. This is the area that I showed you how to get to by saving Solaire. If you don't know how to save Solaire, what you need to do is become a level 2 member of the Chaos Covenant. Then go down there and press whatever action key you have to open doors, open chests, things like that. For me, it is Q. The door will open, then you can run by. What you need to do is kill all of the bugs in the area. Specifically, you have to kill the one with the glowing red eyes, but for a new player, I definitely recommend that you kill all of them. That way, Solaire will be saved and you can use him moving on. So I hope this was helpful, and I will see you guys at the boss fight. Just doing the rings real quick for this boss fight, what I recommend you use for a strength build is the Wolf Ring for extra poise and the Chlorine Ring for the stamina regen, because that will allow you to block through more attacks and allow you to get out of tight spots. And to see how to save Solaire, I have already covered that in my main Let's Play, so if you are interested in that, I apologize, but that will be not shown here in this video. Instead, let us go on to Demon Fire Sage. This boss can be tough with a strength build, mainly because you are extremely immobile. However, he will almost always start out the boss fight with that kind of attack. I do not recommend trying to get out of the attack by moving away from it, because that is an extremely long reach. As you can see, this is his favorite combination that I found he likes doing for an immobile strength build, or against an immobile strength build. He definitely likes to do attacks like that chain up with the rapid explosions afterward. However, as you can see, that attack has no explosion. This boss fight plays a lot like the Stray Demon in that his attacks are very similar with the explosions afterward. That's another example right there of that attack's extreme range. Those attacks are very easily blocked through, however they are a little bit annoying because they do drain your health over time. What I definitely recommend doing for this boss fight is getting in close to him. However, before getting in to attack him even, what I definitely recommend doing is allowing him to get several shots off, because that will get rid of probably your worst complaint as a strength build for this boss fight. Aside from that chain of attacks, of course. As you saw, this area was full of different trees and roots and bits of environment that will block your path. The only way that you can get through them is either through his attacks or attacking yourself. You cannot roll to break through them. So what I recommend you doing is letting him do several of his explosion attacks, and that will clear the field. And plus, that'll give you a good sense of what his attacks are like, what the timings are, things like that. And blocking his attacks is also good for the morale. Now, to get hits off on this guy, my best recommendation is allowing him to do several of his attacks in a row and continuously circling around him as he does his attacks. This will allow you to get behind him or to his side, where he will start doing attacks you can easily avoid. His explosion attacks almost always only go out in front of him. This is very good for you, because that means that if you're behind him or to his side, you can just get attacks off on him willy-nilly without any worry. You can also see that if you get several attacks off on him in a row, you can just go up and he will do that fly-around attack. Now when it comes to either doing one-hand or two-handed attacks, for the most part, if you're new to this boss fight, or if you're having trouble with blocking some of his attacks and getting hit, I definitely recommend going in one-handed, because that way you'll always have your shield up and you don't have to switch over, or have to worry about having enough stamina to have to switch over. However, if you're finding that blocking his attacks and getting the timing down for that is easy, I definitely would recommend going over to two-handed attacks. This guy does not have a lot of health, however his attacks can be very powerful, and coupled with the environment, it can be quite tricky. So best of luck to you, and I hope that this was helpful. I'll see you guys in the main Let's Play tomorrow.